Alrighty, I'm gonna unbox this guitar kit and we'll see what we have. Leo JAYMZ compartmentalized. So we're gonna say neck, body, components, yeah? This is a really incredibly thick user manual. Holy smokes. Pictures, kids. That is actually pretty awesome. That's great for someone doing this for the first time. Maybe even for me. See if I get lost. Wow, that is a super light body. So we have a 1, 2, 3, 4 piece body. That could be worse. This is a bit of a weird routing choice, but okay. It's been sanded for sure, maybe down to like, maybe 220. Not super smooth, but some care has been taken. Looks pretty stratty to me. I'll take some measurements in a minute, but this is a mahogany body. I don't know if there's any way to get any information about, you know, what sort of mahogany or if it's sapele or something like that, but looks okay. Doesn't really matter. I'm gonna green fill it anyway, most likely at some point. 3.43 pounds. 3.43 pounds. 3.44 pounds. It's gone up. And this way we can kind of tally up what our guitar is going to weigh before we even assemble it, yeah? Let's check out our neck. There we have it. Paddle headstock. I guess it's worth noting everything is pre-drilled here. So even the string trees, which we're going to try to only use one. You know, this is obviously geared for a DIYer, probably, you know, first time DIYer-ish. You know, there's a couple of imperfections, if trees can be slighted by that word. And these drill holes are not particularly super clean, but probably just fine. If not, we can always fill them. Maple neck, one piece, maple neck. Feels really nice and comfortable. I'm gonna take some measurements in a minute. This is a plastic nut. Doesn't mean it's bad necessarily, and it's glued in. You could knock it out. This fingerboard is, they say ebony. We're gonna go ahead and probably say it is not like a real, if it's any sort of ebony, it's gotta be some kind of manufactured ebony. A little bit of schmegma on here, perloid dots. But overall, you know, cut a little bit rough. If you can see inside that truss rod, it's not really sanded down inside there, but I mean, come on. What did you expect for that kind of price, right? But it's not crap. It's okay. It's okay. Fret ends are not 100% perfect, but there's no crazy sprout. We'll shape this headstock, make it look like something cool. I think that's reasonable. That's more than reasonable. Let's weigh this guy. 1.26 imperial pounds. Well, my penmanship on cardboard is very not good. So we're up to a grand total right now of about 4.7 pounds. Let's look at the components we have here. The last box within the box. Foil tape. Holy smokes. That is a decent amount of foil tape, kids. I didn't really know what I'd be getting. You can do a Faraday cage. Look at this. That's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's like six feet by, I don't know, a couple inches or so. Kudos. I have to look in their manual and see what they recommend we do with this. Tuners, non-branded. We'll see what the ratio is. Oh, some strings, output jack, neck plate. And we have this little multi-pin. So we're assuming this is a solderless kit. I'm not even sure if that was in the description or not, but how neat is that? This is very IKEA of them, giving us numbers to correlate with their beautiful picture book. Yeah, I dig it. How fun. Guitar cable, you know, the worst possible guitar cable you can buy for the money. Tremolo arm, some oranges, and back plate, and a very small block bridge. Definitely on the cheaper end of things, but that doesn't mean we can't make it work for our porpoises here today. And here we go, pickguard. Stark white, friends. Talking about Joel Osteen white here, friends. Look at that. Stratty, 5-way switch. PCB. Obviously not what you buy if you're building a custom shop Strat, but you know, you've got dime size pots, smaller than dimes, actually. Yeah, all cheap stuff, but we'll see if it works. Ceramic magnets, but again, we have this solderless multi-pin connection thing going on. Let's put all this stuff on the scale, all of it together, shall we? Mountain of junk. I've lost my pen. Panic! So friends, we're gonna have a guitar that's about, carry the 1, 6, 7, 8. That is a very, very light guitar. We're gonna have a 7-pound guitar if I pile super thick finish on. And that is a very light Strat, which I like. Yay for that. The only question will be, will it be balanced? Will it be neck heavy? Will it dive? And of course, that's with just these components, which we're gonna build. We're gonna make this guitar with these components. The only thing I'm gonna do, which I think is expected of us with this guitar kit, is to shape the neck. You don't have to. You could leave it as a paddle. That's a statement. But I'm gonna go ahead and shape that into something, and then we'll put this thing together. I think it's gonna take like an hour, if that. Super quick. Alrighty, magic. We have a viable headstock. Got a little bit of the vibe of my original stuff, but still very classic, I think. Not too bad for 10 minutes worth of work. Bandsaw. I did use a spindle sander for this curve here, but you could do it all by hand, take a little longer. I think we're just gonna assemble this guitar, screwdriver, maybe a wrench or two, read the directions, assemble it, and then we'll set it up as I would any other guitar. And we'll see. I measured this body thickness, and it's about 1.66, 1.67, depending on exactly where I measure it, which is a little thinner than a typical, like USA Strat would be 1.75. A lot of imports, the very cheapest imports are 1.5, sometimes even a little thinner than that. And the big difference is, in terms of functionality anyway, is whether you can put a full-size tremolo block in those guys. A lot of times you cannot, but we'll get there. We'll get there. I just wanted to share that before I forgot. So yeah, let's assemble the guitar. Tells us what tools we need. Looks like a need a yardstick, a ruler, and a couple different types of screwdriver, although it's very hard to see what, and a wrench. You could probably manage that. Tuners, let's do them. All right, tuners installed. What's next? Let's see. Oh, these are all tuner pages. Already got that done. Done. Curiously, all these holes are right, so I didn't need to do that. Wow, this is extremely detailed. Install electronics. We're already there, kids. Now hold on a second. I'm gonna look ahead. I'm gonna read ahead in the assignment. There is nothing in here about this foil tape, friends. The big surprise out of the box with foil tape, and there's nothing about it shielding this. Now, I'll say this. I'm not gonna keep these pickups in this guitar. So I'm not gonna put the foil tape in because I'm gonna use it later. But it is a value added thing, so kudos to them. And we'll continue on with this install electronics. Yeah, all right, fair enough. Put this neck away. Come on. One point off. This was in the package reversed. If I was a brand new builder, if I'd never done this before, if I was buying this for my kid, I would not have known to spin that around. Plate could move, and so your screw would not be as centered. So 1 point off. Yeah, basically, you know, I'm kind of fast forwarding through all this because it's so straightforward. I didn't take any specific skill set or even really understanding of how a guitar goes together to put this entire thing together and have it be right. The only thing that I did after this entire thing was assembled that really required any kind of prior knowledge was setting the saddles to the correct height. But this booklet actually does kind of walk you through that to some degree. I guess if you've never played guitar or you know worked on a guitar at all, and you're watching this, the distance from the bottom of the string to the top of the 12th fret, the fret wire, 12th one down from the nut, that's, you know, a good indication of how easily your guitar will play. One indication anyway. And so without an action ruler, you can actually just use a US quarter. That's typically about 1.75 millimeters or so. All right, let's put some strings on it. We're gonna put their strings on it. Now, so far, the most difficult part of this project has been uncoiling the strings. Go ahead and take this opportunity to say, if you're doing this, like if you're doing this for real, if you're really trying to build a playable guitar, don't use these strings. Go ahead and get yourself some proper strings and you'll be much happier. So I'm down to B and E, and these are probably 9s, and I'm relatively certain this is B. But I think if you were brand new to all of this, that would be a pretty difficult proposition for someone who's never even handled a guitar string before to know which one was B and which one was E, high E. All the more reason to just go buy some XLs or something. Five screws, and I would need 6 to put this on, which I'm not going to do anyway, but so missing 1 screw. Oh, my money back. It's a guitar. So the only things I didn't do that were in this really awesomely put together manual, I mean, so far beyond what I thought they would. I mean, they go through how to set your guitar up. I don't know that without some outside assistance, this would be enough. But certainly between this and just, you know, somebody sitting near a computer, being able to Google what it is these folks are talking about here, I am super impressed. What fun this is. So anyway, didn't put on the back plate. I didn't use the first string tree. The collar on the second string tree, I should have used the other one. It said to use the short one on B and E, so I did, but you can see that break angle is, you know, pretty far down. It's not gonna matter. The only reason I don't like that is because it's gonna be a point of tension for tuning stability and whatnot, but we're not even anywhere close to that yet. So let me tune this guy up and see what our intonation's like, and go from there. All right, a couple thoughts before I wrap this up. I want to get this thing up. I've got surgery scheduled next week, kick some cancer to the curb. So not sure how long that recovery is going to take me. But to close out part one, I'll say this was a lot of fun. I'm glad I bought this kit. I think for the money, it's a good value. It's not a terrible guitar. Obviously, I haven't finished this yet. We still have raw wood, but that's kind of also the point. So, in part two, we'll finish this the way we want to finish it and have ourselves a bit more of a custom guitar. The product as we have it right now isn't perfect, but it's playable. I can make sounds with all the pickups and nothing frets out. I haven't done any sort of fret work to this at all. Our action at the 12th fret's about 2 mil, and that's a little high for me, but not terrible. The nut could definitely stand a better cut, and I'm sure they err on the side of high, because if they erred on the side of low, they would have a bunch of folks fretting out all over the fretboard. So we can fix that. A local tech could fix that, Pickups aren't great. Nothing to write home about at all. They're ceramic. They have weird readings. I think I was at like 0.7 Henrys on our inductance. But again, I have no idea what the wire is. Magnets are obviously ceramic. So, they don't sound bad. But they are low output and a little bit on the bright side. I'm running through a Helix native patch, and it's not terribly different than what I would normally set up for a Strat. I pushed the front end a little bit more with the compressor and took a little 5K or so on a parametric EQ out and got into the neighborhood of what I would be if I was just setting up any other Stratocaster. So, you have a lot of leverage now with modelers and whatnot to kind of correct for a pickup setup that might not be in the neighborhood of normal, we'll call it, because this is definitely not what you find on a professional Strat, right? You probably have Alnico pickups, and the readings would be much different than these. So we'll just leave it at that. All of the electronics are definitely cheap, but everything is working, and I think it sounds pretty good after those changes in Helix, The only material thing on here that is kind of a question mark is the fretboard. I'm going to guess it's some sort of manufactured wood. They say ebony. I really don't think it's ebony. I think a slab of ebony that big would be cost prohibitive. But that's what they say. I don't want to call them liars. There may be some gray area. Anyway, I think it's a lot of fun. And on part two, we'll bring this thing to a whole level altogether and see how much that costs us, if it's worth it or not, if I feel like it's worth it or not. Happy playing, and we'll see you next time.